Welcome to Envision Broadcasting, the station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success presents The Momentum Shift. A show where we get inspired, we get moving, and we get results. Every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern with your host, Eric Collier. He's the mayor of motivation and mental quicksand expert, bringing you inspiring interviews and empowering stories that will help to improve lives. If you're ready to start making the impossible possible, then you've joined the right show, because the momentum shift is what you've been looking for.
You may think that, I am not qualified, but the word says I'm created in the image of God, so I'm qualified. And so I literally at that point, I shut it out and said, yes, I am enough. And I went to that scripture, reread it, and that was, talk about momentum shift. That was my shift of not living in my circumstance, but living in who I am and who I was created to be.
Hello, I'm Eric Collier, and I'm really excited about having the opportunity to represent the Rise to Greater Heights as the Veteran of the Year, as well as represent veterans all over the world. I'm also a motivational keynote speaker. I proudly served in the United States Army and Navy. I'm a host of the Momentum Shift podcast and radio show, as well as a coach and mentor for military employees, DoD employees, and high school and middle school students as well. And the reason I do it is simply because I just love people. I want to see them win. And that has earned me the nickname, the Mayor of Motivation. And I help them overcome the mental barriers to success because I want them to really have the opportunity to see what they once believed as impossible become possible for them. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity. And all I want to do is leave you with this. High-level results don't come from low-level effort, as well as you got to just keep pushing no matter what, because nobody's going to change your life but you. Take care. In a world where shifts can either hold you back or propel you forward, we're here to explore the art and science of harnessing momentum. I'm your host, Eric Collier, and together we'll dive deep into the story, strategy, and mindset of today's guest, who has mastered the art of riding the wave of change. Now let's get this shift started.
Welcome to the Momentum Shift, where we get inspired, get moving, and get results. I'm Eric Collier, the Mayor of Motivation and your host, and I'm really happy that you're joining me today. As you all know, this show is about helping people get inspired, get moving, so they can take action to making the impossible possible for them. And so today, my guest is someone who can really share some nuggets of success and speak from experience in helping you change the game. As you listen to it, I want you to not just listen, I want you to take notes. And as you take notes, identify places that you found yourself stuck in and where you can change the game. And as you start identifying those, think about a plan you want to put together and start going after it. So as we get ready to go here, let me introduce my guest, who I'm really excited about. She's someone I got a chance to work with on her show. She's an author. She's a radio or podcast and a host for the Tanya White show. And one of her books just hit Amazon's bestseller for weeks. And I want to let her tell you about it, but I think you're going to really love her. I really enjoy her. And I'm going to tell you this. If you're a Baltimore Raven fan, I can tell you that she's the big reason that Jackson got the money he got. She's always from Louisville, Muhammad Ali, Lee Town. Thank you for joining me, Miss Tanya White.
Thank you for the most important information. Lamar Jackson is U of L homegrown. So y'all treat him right up there in Baltimore. Because we got teams for him to go to. That's our boy right there. So I'm just saying, treat him wrong. Y'all got the whole city up in Baltimore.
I remember when I was on your show, just what you said, give Lamar his money.
Give him his money.
And he got his money, didn't he?
Listen, because y'all didn't want Louisville to come up there. Y'all didn't want him. We Gold City down.
So, I'm a big Muhammad Ali fan. So I get a chance to come to Louisville. I want to visit. He's got a museum there, correct?
Absolutely. It is absolutely top notch like he was. It's nothing like it. I'm a museum type of person. And
Okay.
to have a museum, first of all, for Muhammad Ali, he loved Louisville. He represented this city well across the globe. And for that center to be like top notch of exhibits and just history, it's exquisite. Outside of, anything else you visit in the city, you must visit the Muhammad Ali Center. Must. It's a must see.
Definitely. And then what about where I want to eat? What's the best spot? Barbecue?
Oh, we get good. We love
Y'all know
our
anything
food
about
down
barbecue
here.
down there?
Yes, we do. We love our barbecue. We love our fried fish and our soul food. There are tons of soul food restaurants, but Dasher's Barber, Soul Food, Franco's, the Groove is it's not just soul food, but I love it because it is a Black-owned male business by three
Okay.
Omega Psi Phi brothers who started
All
that
right.
in downtown Louisville. That's the busiest, like, prime spot. And for them to have a thriving location in downtown Louisville, and the food is delicious, the ambiance is wonderful, and they are always creating events for everybody. It's very diverse.
Okay. I
So
love
the
that.
Groove.
Yeah. All right. Cool deal. So now you filled us in about Louisville, or is it Louisville? I don't know. So let's talk about Tanya White. So
Yes.
we as again we talk about the show, the momentum shift. This momentum shift is serious. It's real. I watched the
Yep.
show coming out here on my vacation, and when you talk about somebody stepping up to take charge of their own life and how it inspires others, talk to me about the momentum shift and what it means to you. And have you ever experienced one of those moments where you look, I got to change things?
Always. I'm always a change, but always involving. First of all, I got to give props to my parents in heaven who created trailblazers, momentum shifters. They always told us never be satisfied with good things. Always strive for great and greater. And so I am that person. Yeah, I strategize, have goals, and I meet goals. Even when I don't, I revise them. But I don't, sit right there in success. I go up higher because for me, it's more than just me and getting the accolades. I am trying to leverage not only who Tanya White is and what I've accomplished, but my character as a person. I'm one, people will tell you no matter who met me, if you never met me in person, but met me on social media, they always say the same thing. I love your energy. I love that you're always positive, and I always feel that you are my cheerleader because I'm always telling people you can go and grow and glow wherever you are. No, it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter where you're at. It's your mindset. And that is the momentum shift. When your mind is constantly in a positive place, in a positive a season of elevation and determination, it doesn't matter. Like the Bible says, I can be in the pits of hell, and wherever I am, I know that there's a brighter day. And so that is me. I'm always encouraging, always striving. I walk the talk that I encourage others to do. So when people see me, they see not only perseverance, resilience, but I'm very transparent about my battles, my struggles. And when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling low, and when I'm feeling happy, and like I'm a bad mama Jim. Yeah, I'm in that mindset. So when you give your authentic self, it's not just for you. It's for people to be inspired to find out, first of all, who they are. It took me years. Even though my parents grew me, they always have positive. When you go out into this world, it really is a different world. Like the show said, it's a different world. You have barriers. Society puts up challenges and obstacles. And then everything that your parents, your church family have taught you about faith and perseverance. Sometimes you get in a season where you're stuck because all the negative that society tells you, especially if you're a chocolate drop woman, Because we're in the fact even now, even in 2023, the African-American woman, professional woman particularly, is under attack. You start believing the negative. And so what you got to get out is have that self-talk. And like, I'm going back to the old children's book. I think I can. I think I can. When you think, I think I can until I know I can. And then I know I can until I did everything that I thought that I could. So that's a little bit about me. And let me not forget to say this. I am a divine member of Delta Sigma Theta, the 1913. So to all my sorors out there listening,
watch out now. Watch out. I love it. And you know, when you were talking, you gave us a great example. And I believe there's no reason that you can come from, there's no way in the world that you can come from Louisville.
We're here to explore the art and science of harnessing momentum. Now let's get this shift started.
And not have positive self-talk driving you. And talk to me about the importance of having that self-talk and how it's helped you along with creating the momentum shifts in your life.
Well, it is very important, especially we are the city. We got negative 3 years ago, Breonna Taylor. That is my city. And so people got, the world got a glimpse of really what Black people face daily. And so, unfortunately, the whole Breonna Taylor thing, yes, she lost her life, but slowly, professionally in society, Black people, particularly in this city, get attacked and get executed mentally, physically, most of the time, especially our Black brothers, and professionally. So you have to have that positive self-talk. We're at Louisville, Kentucky. It's Kentucky. Well, I don't care what Mitch McConnell is our senator. So you know a little bit about Kentucky. It is very much Bible Belt, very much traditional white establishment. But we have come a long way. And it's primarily because of the trailblazers like Muhammad Ali, Lewis Coleman, a lot of the advocates and people who've gone before us who have created a way, and our ancestors said, you know what? No matter what situation you're in, you deserve to be treated with respect and justice. You deserve everything that every other culture. Now, they didn't say it was going to be easy, but they gave us the tools. They gave us the spirit of fight. They gave us the spirit of determination to keep going and create a legacy that's better and brighter for our future. And that's what you have to keep your mind on. Yes, I may be in a quandary right now, but there is a brighter day ahead. And you just got to find your tribe. You've got to find your inner engine to keep going. Because if you don't, and you look outside of society, patting you on the back, it's not going to happen, baby. Not going to happen. So you've got to find that inner energy. You got to look yourself in the mirror every single day and find at least one. It could be more. At least one thing that is great about you and that you will accomplish in that day. And then dwell on what you've already accomplished, despite many obstacles that were in your way, because that's going to be your spinach, like Popeye, that spinach to fuel you to greater and not give up even though you feel like it, you're going to keep going.
No, you've got, so let me ask you this. The events that are taking place in the year, is that the inspiration behind your book, Professionally Lynched?
Oh, you talking about with Breonna Taylor?
Yeah.
Well, I lived that. So this is, and I write this in the book. When y'all was seeing everything that was happening and everybody was like, oh, that is so wrong. Or, found out that, systems were manipulating data, manipulating facts, and point blank lying. I had lived that. And so I was like, looking around like, what y'all so surprised for? This is every day in Louisville. And so I had lived that. By 2020, I had lived being professionally lynched for 5 years. And so, but that gave me the push. I was like, now everybody sees what most people, Black people, especially Black professional, innovative, creative, and results-oriented women like myself go through, because we're not far from the plantation mentality. Civil rights is not even 100 years, indoctrinated. And so, yes, we've come a long way, but there's still systems. There's still hidden policies. There's still slave masters in the workplace that really want you to stay in your place. I referenced this in the book. One of my favorite movies, we watched Roots. That was the Black saga.
We did. We all sat around every week.
Listen, we wasn't no cable, wasn't no internet. We watched Roots from beginning to end. But the one of the pivotal moments was when Kunta Kinte said, I don't belong here. I'm getting off this plantation, going back to my homeland. And he tried to run away. He kept running away until and he wouldn't respond to his slave name. And so when one time they caught him when he was running away, and y'all know Kunta Kinte was faster than fast. And they had him up on the ropes and whipping him, and they tried to make him say his slave name. And it took hours upon hours, blood, sweat, and tears till he finally succumbed. That's what happens when you are in a professional environment that doesn't respect who you are as a person. Think that you should stay in your place as a Black person. And this is not just from the white establishment. They have Black people doing the same work as anybody else, putting you down and putting a target on your back and creating obstacles for you and creating lies so that you would not expand and grow. Because one thing about the slave master, the whole idea was what they didn't want Black people to be intelligent. They didn't want us to read, because reading is freedom. When you are free, you can't help but keep it to yourself. So you create and teach other people how to be free as well. And so that is the same mentality. Even today, even this year, Ron DeSantis and all that he's doing, Lord have mercy, in Florida with the diversity, equity, inclusion. I didn't even know this, Eric, that you could suspend an elected official because you didn't like their philosophy. I didn't know that in these United States of America.
Right.
I didn't know that until Ron DeSantis said she suspended.
Right.
And so it is one of those hidden secrets that is undercurrent in our society.
So when we talk about a slave mentality, we talk about the slave mentality, that being in the corporate world, that being in our communities, to relationships that we have. What advice would you give to those who aren't awake? Or as the kids say, who aren't woke? What advice would you? And that comes from any I say any nationality, right? Any ethnicity. It can come from anywhere. So what advice would you give to those individuals who don't realize that they have the potential to change the situation they're in?
Well, for our culture, we still have long ways to go. Any other culture, they'll band together and they'll get what they need for the whole entire race as a whole. They don't have to like each other. They're not jealous of. They're looking at the big picture. One thing that we don't do as Black people, we don't look at the big picture of things. We still have that crabs in a bucket mentality. And when you have a crabs in a bucket mentality, especially when you're a leader, you become insecure, inferior towards people who are secure in who they are. And they may not have the position, but they have the influence to draw people in. They have a magnetic personality, and people will come to them because they see them as an approachable, trusted voice in the organization, even though they don't have the title. And so when you are in that slave mentality, you want people to respect you because of your title, not because of your character. And that's what it is. When you're in when you one of the slave masters, one of the lynchers, you all about titles and you better, you should, all that. When if you just would be your authentic self, treat people with the golden rule as with respect, honesty, and know that, we may disagree. And that's okay. Disagreement doesn't have to mean division. It does not have to mean division. And so when you get a full overall big picture of things and know what your role and assignment is, and encourage others to be in their role and assignment, and then we collectively further the vision, then we will see a whole, when you're talking about momentum shift in our culture, and then when we see it in our culture, the world will catch on. But the world hasn't catch on because they see division. They see us hurting one another and not respecting one another, and that crabs in a bucket mentality. So they're like, hey, we're going to treat them the same way they treat each other.
You made some valid points there. How you view what you do determines how hard you're going to go after it. And you kind of live in the reality that you think about, right? So great points right there. So my question to you on creating a momentum shift and making this a better world. And you talked about something earlier, loving me some me, right? And you've got a book. Your book is titled, oh man, what's the name? I've forgotten the book. You wrote a book.
Yes, I am enough.
Yes, I'm enough. Yes. Talk to me about how that came about and how that is a book, a life-changing book for those who read it, and how they can use that to really realize their potential to really create a better life for themselves and those around.
Absolutely. And it's ironic that you bring that up because that was the book that started the other books in Professionally Lynched, because I was going through the height of me being professionally lynched and thinking I wasn't good enough. I wasn't capable enough, believing all what my boss was saying, even though he had no evidence, no valid evidence. I mean, parents, I was a school counselor administrator. Parents daily, multiple times a day would come, give compliments, would email compliments. I mean, any program that I facilitated, droves of parent volunteers would come and they're like, Miss White, how you get all these parents out here? And I'm like, simply ask them.
Right, exactly.
When I asked them, I had already built a relationship with them through being in the car line and said, good morning, good afternoon, just the simple things to let people know who I am and that I want to know who they are, and building those relationships. So relationships is key. And so when I was at the height of that, I was laying in bed, Eric, I remember, and everybody knows I'm a big New Edition fan.
Okay.
Huge, super. Every time a video comes on, I'm doing all the steps.
All right.
That day, I was so downtrodden and depressed. My favorite New Edition video was on If It Isn't Love, and I couldn't even move. And then I'm thinking, why I'm not up? This is my song. And then it made me think why I was in that state because of my job. I had believed the negative and have forgot that I was enough. Because when you read in Genesis, if you're a biblical person, you believe the Bible, Genesis 1:29 says that we are created in the image of God. And so if we are created in the image of God, that's what the word says. That means we lack nothing. So yes, you may think I'm not good enough, but the word says I am created in the image of God. God is enough. You may think that, I am not qualified, but the word says I'm created in the image of God, so I'm qualified. And so I literally at that point, I shut it out and said, yes, I am enough. And I went to that scripture, reread it, and that was, talk about momentum shift. That was my shift of not living in my circumstance, but living in who I am and who I was created to be. I was created to be a game changer. I was created to be a voice of inspiration, encouragement, a mentor, a leader. And so when you forget what you was created to do and who you were created after and start believing the negative, you have to do your own shift. And that was my shift. And so did the situation change? Absolutely not. My mind changed. And so I was able to walk on fire. And yes, it hurt. Yes, it burned, but I kept saying, yes, I am enough. I have an assignment. People need me. And sometimes, even though you can say that, the biggest regret that I have was staying too long because I had mistaken me helping people over me taking care of myself. And so I should have cut the change loose. Now I've learned that. And so, especially because I'm going to be 53, and after your 50s, you just don't have that time. You like cut, snip, snip. I got other lives to live. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So let me ask you this. So you said that you regret that you stayed too long. So do you believe that sometimes our staying too long, right? So let's go back. So God gives us a sign, He wakes us up, right? We wake up and boom, we know immediately what we need to be doing. But rather than moving on, we stay where we're at because we're comfortable there, because we believe that this is what we're supposed to be doing. Do you believe that the sign comes that you might get laid off, fired, or removed from that position simply because it's time for you to move on, that you weren't meant to be where you were?
Hello, I'm Eric Collier, and I'm really excited about having the opportunity to represent the Rise to Greater Heights as the Veteran of the Year, as well as represent veterans all over the world. I'm also a motivational keynote speaker. I proudly served in the United States Army and Navy. I'm a host of the Momentum Shift podcast and radio show, as well as a coach and mentor for military employees, DoD employees, and high school and middle school students as well. And the reason I do it is simply because I just love people. I want to see them win. And that has earned me the nickname, the Mayor of Motivation. And I help them overcome the mental barriers to success because I want them to really have the opportunity to see what they once believed as impossible become possible for them. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity. And all I want to do is leave you with this. High-level results don't come from low-level effort, as well as you got to just keep pushing no matter what, because nobody's going to change your life but you. Take care.
I do believe that. And for Black women, and I write this in the book too, Professionally Lynched, which you can get on Amazon. But I write about,
go to Amazon, pick that book up.
Yeah, I don't know if Black men experience this, but for Black women, we are chained to that strong Black women syndrome. Like you can overcome anything. You can stay in any situation. If God put you there, you got to stay. You got to stay in the mire and muck. And because God put you there, and you should stay there until God releases you. But sometimes God just simply say, girl, if you don't go, I got something better for you. Yeah. Look, we look for that burning bush moment. And God is speaking in a still small voice and I told you to go 2 years ago.
I gave you a hint a long time ago. You weren't supposed to be here. You better wake up.
Absolutely. But we stay, and that is one of those myths that we have to stay, that slave mentality, Eric. We got to stay in the struggle. Our life, we're not living unless we're struggling. And that is a myth that we have got to break as a culture. Life is not meant to be a struggle. Yes, we do struggle, but it's not meant for us to be forever in a struggle. And so sometimes God said, hey, leave. Send your resume out.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to this person. Let people know you're looking. Because, and that's another mindset. We think we got to stay and we can't tell people what we're looking for.
Right.
Other cultures do it all the time. Say, hey, I'm looking to move up. It's time for me to go. What you got over there?
Yeah, exactly. My mom always said this: the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? Or the oil. And if you're not telling people what you want to do, what you're doing, nobody knows that you are capable of those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you talk about, and I mean, when you said talking, that's what a lot, because I think there's a mindset that says, this is the best I ever do. I'm doing better than what my parents did. I'm doing better than my grandparents. I'm getting this salary. Oh man, and the neighborhood I'm living in, I'm living real nice. And so you get stuck in that mindset that this is the best you ever do. How would you encourage people to really sit down and identify what the passion is to get off of that? What I like to call is, when you're at the top of one mountain, you're at the bottom of another one that you got to move forward on. So what do you tell people to, hey, look, this success that you have right now is great, but you are capable of so much more.
First, we got to give ourselves permission to be great, greater, and greatest. Mm. And I don't think that our culture, and I can only speak from our Black culture, we have not given ourselves permission to be that. I love what you said. I'm doing better than my parents. Okay, my parents did better than their parents. Their parents did better than their parents. So if we stay, stagnant, and I equate this with water that's stagnant. When water is stagnant for too long, it begins to stink.
Thank you.
If you had water and you had a basement that flooded, if that water stays too long, it begins to create a stench that is smelled all through your house. And so we've got to tell ourselves, first of all, that we deserve to be on the move. We deserve to shift. When God says shift, we deserve to elevate. When God says it's time for your elevation, without giving anybody an excuse or apology and not having a success remorse. It's just like survivor's remorse. Some of us have success remorse that because we have reached certain levels of success, we ought to feel bad because somebody in our family hasn't, or even our colleagues. We got to stop all that, because my success, I'm going to help you. When I go higher, I'm going to reach back and pull you along, because I'm building leverage. I'm building, relationships, and people are trusting me. So when I say, hey, you have a position over there, I know somebody, because they know me, they're going to trust my judgment. And so, but if I had stayed stagnant right there with them, I wouldn't have been introduced to somebody else. And so we've got to keep moving. We got to tell ourselves it's okay to grow, to be successful, and to be the best that we can be. And stop trying to be a big fish in a small pond. I'd rather be a little fish in the ocean than a big fish in a small pond, because a big fish in a small pond has limitations. But if I'm a small fish in the ocean, I can go and swim so much further and build my muscles, because I got to keep stroking. And eventually I will grow into it and go and have the confidence, Eric, to know that if I was a small fish in the ocean, I can become a whale in a greater ocean. And so we've got to tell ourselves that it's okay for us to be great, and it's okay for us to not be guilty about our greatness.
Hey, you touched on a couple of things in there that I want to highlight. Dialing your dreams back. How many times? I mean, I know over the years I've done that. Dial your dreams back because somebody said, "Oh, you're doing too much. Oh, you're obsessed," right? And we dial our dreams back. And then when we dial our dreams back, we're pushing our level of happiness, our level of success further away. And then you talked about something, and you mentioned it earlier. You said something about, what was that? The Divine Nine and the Delta.
Yes.
I know. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. You should promote you. I love that. I love seeing the fraternities. I'm a member of the U.S. Army and Navy fraternity, but
that's
I love.
That's a solid frat too.
Yeah. But I love seeing deltas, alpha, sigmas, AKAs, and zetas. I love when I'm around all of you. Talk to me about connection. I'm big on connection. People don't realize that the reason you're not moving forward is because you're trying to do it all by yourself. I'm self-made. You're not self-made. If you think about it, the connections that are out there to help you get these little bitty jobs that you're not really happy with are the same connections that will help you live towards your dream. So talk to me about the connection with the Divine Nine and how that's changed your life.
Well, before I was a Divine Nine, I was a connector. My parents were like that. Listen,
Yeah, you don't
in
seem to be like
Louisville.
somebody who sit in the corner and always quiet.
But listen, I was when I didn't know who I was very much the wallflower when I was a teenager.
Okay.
But until I said yes, I'm enough, then that's when the fullness of Tanya came out. But my parents were always the couple. Before I knew Jay-Z and Beyonce, I knew Joe and Irma because they had, when you talk about connections, my dad was like over the employment service where they found people jobs. He was one of the few Black who were in a supervisory role. So any job that most Black people had between the late 60s and the 80s when he was working in that job, my dad gave him because my dad was a connector. He was one, when I make it, I'm going to make you make it. So one of the things that my dad was over placing people like at Ford and all these good factory jobs that were in our city and other government jobs. And he made sure that he told African-American people what they needed to do and, you know, how they needed to dress at the interview, what the companies were looking. He prepared and mentored them so that they could get that job. And so growing up, going out, everybody said, Mr. White, I got the job. So we had out as a family. And I'm daddy's girl, Eric. So my daddy time is my daddy time. So I was that kid, that brat kid. Don't be talking to my daddy.
I got my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter would always go home and say, "Mom, Daddy, some woman talking to my daddy."
That was me, Mama. Guess what? Oh, and I would tell her if I knew the name, I'd be like, she was doing this to Daddy, but because I didn't know that he was a connector. My mom was the same way, especially, and then in church, both of them were very active and held positions in the church. So everybody flocked toward them. So any gathering we had on our house, everybody came. And you know how you say, oh, come back anytime? Literally, people would come back 30 minutes later.
They didn't want to go home.
Because they felt, everybody who came over our house said, we feel so comfortable. You make us feel comfortable. And so my parents were the basis for that. And so today I get, Tanya, you know everybody. Well, I don't know everybody. It's just the people I know, I connect people with. So like you, Eric, I do it all the time on Facebook. We ain't never met face to face.
Yeah.
But if I say, oh, you need a good show to be on, you need to reach out to this brother. I connect people because I want people to have experiences with other people that made me not only think about the things that I could do, but encouraged and empowered me. And so when I connect people with other people, I'm saying, hey, this person has made a significant pouring into my life. You need to meet them because they can do the same and you can do the same for them. And when you come together, it's going to be combustible. So the power of connection is very, very important. Sometimes we need to get over compartmentalizing our life. Like who I am at work is who I am at home, believe it or not.
Yeah. That's good.
Listen, I am that ball of energy. Because my prayer every day is, Lord, let me change the atmosphere because I don't know what people are coming into. So if I help to change the atmosphere because I'm thinking about God's goodness and not dwelling on the negative that's happened in my life, I can be a light, energy, a positive energy to somebody who is really struggling worse than me. And so when that happens, I always say, yes, I know somebody, or I know somebody who knows somebody, because I want you to get the resources you need to be the greatest person that you can be in your life. And so connection is very important. You got to be authentic. You have to be a positive energy and you have to be approachable. You cannot be one way, especially at church or in the community, and be some other Jekyll and Hyde on your job. People are not going to trust you like that. So connection is very important and you got to be authentically who you are. Now, being authentically you are, maybe you don't know who you are. And you have negativity. You filling out that negative energy. You can change. Everybody can change. But you have to do the work. As Iyanla says, who is my coach in my head, do your work.
Do your work. Do your work. And I truly operate just as you do. I think that's why we connect so well, because I'm a big believer when I walk down the hall, walk down the street, I say hello. Because you don't know where people are in mental, what they're going through, how bad their day is, what they're struggling with. And so I think that if I say hello to you, it gives you a chance to stop and we can talk about some things that really light your day up, like your kids or some event you're going to or some experience you had. And so that breaks up the monotony of your day. So I really truly believe in that. And I love that Mr. Joe White was the mayor of Louisville. In the mayor of motivation.
Oh, Eric, when I was growing up, I was that bratty kid. Do not talk to my daddy. And look, let me tell you something. That's why I say people can change. Because look, before I knew who I was, I was very territorial with my daddy. And if I don't want you around, I don't want you around. And I was one that girl had that mouth. My dad used to be like, T, I'm like, no, this is our time. This is our family time. They can see you at work. So y'all can change. Yes, you can.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. So what are you doing now to help people really get inspired and really educate people on overcoming the barriers to their mental barriers to success?
Hello, I'm Eric Collier, and I'm really excited about having the opportunity to represent the Rise to Greater Heights as the Veteran of the Year, as well as represent veterans all over the world. I'm also a motivational keynote speaker. I proudly served in the United States Army and Navy. I'm a host of the Momentum Shift podcast and radio show, as well as a coach and mentor for military employees, DoD employees, and high school and middle school students as well. And the reason I do it is simply because I just love people. I want to see them win. And that has earned me the nickname, the Mayor of Motivation. And I help them overcome the mental barriers to success because I want them to really have the opportunity to see what they once believed as impossible become possible for them. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity. And all I want to do is leave you with this. High-level results don't come from low-level effort. As well as you got to just keep pushing no matter what, because nobody's going to change your life but you. Take care.
Well, I've started a new job in May with the Goodwill Adult High School. And so I'm taking all that, my 20 years in K through 12, and really applying it to people who have dropped out of high school and now are coming for their high school diploma. And you're talking about the barriers. There's some students who come to us who haven't been in school 30 years. And 30 years ago, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have no cell phones. We didn't have no technology. And so when they're coming back to high school and it's technology driven, that's a barrier. Then on top of that, the barrier of always overcoming the woulda, shoulda, coulda, that I should have done this a long time ago. So I tell people, my mission is to spread love, light, and laughter everywhere I go. And so especially with those, one thing about it, when I started this job, one of my students I taught in 6th grade was in that first class, graduating class. There's only been operation a year. And she was looking at me, you know how you look at people like, what's she looking at?
I know you.
And that's what she said. Is your name Miss White? I was like, yes. She's like, you were my favorite teacher in middle school. And then I looked at her because, like, again, I'm 52. I'm like, baby, I don't know who you are. But she was really gifted, a leader in middle school. But like you, we don't know what people go through that causes them to drop out of high school. And so she said, I dropped out, Miss White, but I was determined when they opened this school to come back. And she's like, I always remembered how your classes, how we had fun, how you really respected all the students. You cared about us. I was like, I sure did. And that's who I am to this day. And so with any adult who's coming back there, I always try to remove the barriers, any barriers of physical disabilities. Because, you're older, You got physical disabilities, you got mental disabilities, and you still maybe you have some learning disabilities. So I make the journey easier and really try to continue them to be steadfast, be determined, because we have support here. So that's what I'm doing from 9 to 5. I'm also always aspiring through my company, S&T Publishing, helping other authors write and publish their books. I have a radio show on our local gospel station called Real Talk with Tanya White that airs every Tuesday from 9 to 9:30 now. And then the Go Get It with Tanya White podcast. And it's more than just motivation. We want you to manifest every it. That's right. That's right, Eric. Get up and go get it.
That's right.
And that's on Tuesdays as well. So Tuesdays is Tanya Tuesday. You get me at 9 o'clock on WLLV. And you can download that app in the Google Store. And then you get me at 12 o'clock with the Go Get It with Tanya White show on envisionedbroadcasting.com. And you have been a guest on both shows, Eric.
I'm looking forward to it. And I love it. So I had a question. So you're talking about people coming back to school years later. What are some of the reasons that they say, hey, I had that aha moment and I'm back now and I'm going to make it happen? What are some of the reasons that they're back?
One of the greatest, the biggest reason that I've heard, again, I've only been there since May of this year, but when I talk to students, they said, because this school was built. This is the first adult school in our state where you can come to classes. It's not a GED. You get your actual high school diploma where you go to class, you have teachers, you can ask questions. So a lot of them said, because the opportunity was here, I can finally get my high school diploma, because for some, the GED didn't work, because that is like a self, learning type of module that's on technology, and you don't have a human there to ask questions. And so when you're trying to finish something that you stopped years ago, you need extra support. So the biggest reason is that the opportunity is there. 2, they want to be a good example for their kids. A lot of mothers and fathers say, I have to do this for my kids. And when I'm telling my kids, finish school, get an education, I got to be the model. And so they want to come back to finish their education. Half of them go on this last class. Half of them are in a college or a trade school. We had 33 graduates in June, and half of them are in a college or a trade school. So that is it. Like the timing. Yeah, the timing, the self-determination, and they want to be better models for the kids and to position themselves for better careers in a college. And many of them want to go to college.
That's what I'm talking about. That's how you create that momentum shift. And that's how you start changing that. You also create a movement that changes generations that come after you. I love that. I applaud all of them. Congratulations. And I love them. Just keep on pushing, because it's going to happen. It's going to be tough. Sometimes it's going to be a struggle. They're going to go through the storm, but keep pushing.
And that's why I float around the building, and like I'm that person, I got to see everybody's face, because, especially midway through the term, it's tough. It's like when we was in college, honey, as we get closer to the end of semester, you're like, man, I should just drop this class and start over. No, keep going, because nobody said life was going to be easy. They've always taught us that you can overcome anything, but it's not going to be easy. The toughest things are the ones that you need to press through and not give up on.
Right, because just doing the easy is the reason we got to change things now. So most of the time, right?
Absolutely. I'm doing
all right, so I can't leave because I can't leave. We can't leave without talking about you stepping on stage and that experience, that moment. How did you enjoy that? I love it. Congratulations, by the way.
When I did what now?
Stepped on stage and spoke to the audience, and you shared your message. Talk to me. How did you enjoy that?
When I share, I don't have that stage fright fear. I have anxiety of, Lord, who is in this audience who really needs the words that I'm going to say? Okay. And so the anxiety comes like, I need to say what somebody needs to hear, because this sometimes is the lifeline to that momentum shift. Because there are many times that I was in the audience and the person I had the pleasure of listening to help shift mine, and they probably even didn't know there was a life-shifting moment. And so now when I'm on the stage where I'm speaking or even doing my podcast and radio show, those are virtual stages for me. I always say, Lord, give me the words for somebody who needs this. Even with my guests, I'm very prayerful and strategic about who's on the show, because somebody who's listening needs this life-shifting moment. And if it's just one person, Eric, that I've done my job. Because one person's life who's changed can change a whole generation. And so now I love talking to people, as you can see, Eric.
Yeah.
I love talking to people. I love interviewing people because I love hearing people's stories as well, and encouraging them and being an encouragement to myself. Because even with your story, when I interviewed you, I was like, "Oh, I'm encouraged. I can do this. I can forgive." That's the takeaway I got from our interview that first time. Forgiveness is possible, and you probably didn't even know that, did you?
I took no clue at all. Thank you. So how can we connect with you and what you got coming up next?
All right, I'm on all social medias. Real Talk with Tanya White or Tanya White. Tanya is Tanya, spelled like Tanya, but pronounced right. Tanya. White is in the color. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. What's the other one? Instagram. And then y'all can listen to my shows. Go Get It with Tanya White on envisionbroadcasting.com every Tuesday at 12 Eastern Standard Time. And Real Talk with Tanya White, WLLV. You can download the app in the Google Store. What I got coming up, I'm having helping some clients publish their books. I'm working on an 11th book, dealing with how to deal with people. I got this idea because when somebody said, "You know everybody," I was like, I don't know everybody. I just know how to have and speak with people and create relationships. So that my 11th book is going to be about mastering the art. I think I'm calling it peopling.
I like that.
The art of peopling. So that's what it is. It's peopling.
Yeah. I like that.
And it's very basic.
Yeah. Wow.
So the influence that you have at home, at work, in the community, it's about relating, connecting with people. And how do we do that? We really think it's hard. I hate when people say relationships are so hard. No, they're not. You make it hard.
Yeah. By saying it's so hard. Stop looking at it as hard and start working at it. You'll find out it's not as hard as you think. Coming from somebody, if my mom says, "You don't know any strangers," I don't.
Right. I don't either, Eric. I don't meet the stranger.
Well, Ms. Tanya White, thank you for joining me today. I am really grateful for the opportunity to have you on my show. And thank you for dropping some really good nuggets on helping people shift their momentum, shift their mindset, to realize that they might be their own enemies. And in some cases, they got to really tap into who they are, start connecting, and just go to work. And so I really thank you for that opportunity to join us today. And I encourage you to just keep pushing, because you truly are a momentum shifter. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show for today. Thank you for joining me on the Momentum Shift, a show designed to help you get inspired, get moving, and get results, because the impossible can become possible for you. Take care.
Thank you for joining The Momentum Shift, a show bringing you interviews and stories of incredible people to help you get inspired, get moving, and get results to ultimately create the life-changing momentum shift that will improve your life. Join host Eric Collier, the mayor of motivation and mental quicksand expert, every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern for The Momentum Shift, the show and change you've been looking for.